Hi. I just want to first off apologize that you were staring at this half-eaten muffin. I got really hungry while setting all this up. I tried to keep it nice, full, and fluffy, but the hunger was real. But today we are not talking about these amazing muffins from Costco that are extremely cheap and you should go pick up. We are talking about expired film and should you shoot it. More specifically, we are talking about expired slide film. Short answer, yes. But just like every good, crazy, amazing thing, there's always a but. Always. So let's dive right in. Backstory, I was able to try these two amazing film stocks that are no longer made anymore. They were expired in 1995 or 6, so it's a long time. And I was born in 96, so I'm calling myself old at this point. I had the opportunity to try these film stocks. The first one was Ektachrome 400, 35 millimeter, and I could not pass up Ektachrome 400. I mean, I love Ektachrome 100, the new version of it, and I just could only imagine that it would be just as good, just with a little bit more grain, which is amazing. The next one was very interesting. It was a Velvia slide film from Fuji, but it was like a variable ISO. You could either shoot it at ISO 100 all the way up to ISO 1000. And to film shooters, that blows my mind. And I'm sure that probably blows your mind if you've never heard of that before. It's just absolutely insane. So basically all you did was on the canister, it had the little check boxes of which ISO you shot it at. You shoot it at the ISO, you check the box, you send it to developing, and it has, however long it needs to be in developer. So I cowered out. I did not shoot it at 1000, but I did shoot it at ISO 800 because the place that I get my film developed at, Dwayne's Photos in Kansas, on their website, it only allowed me to push it to like +2. And the way that they would develop it nowadays is they would develop it as it is in ISO 100 and just develop it as they're pushing it, if that makes sense. And maybe I'm not understanding it properly, but that's how I think they explained it to me. And they weren't able to push from 100 to 1000, but they were able to get to 800 from my discussions with them. So I shot at 800, and let's just say the results were interesting. Now, let's just talk about how slide film, even if you buy it in 2020, is already very temperamental. You have to shoot it at the exact exposure or, it's not going to come out the way it was designed. Now, you add some age to it, especially somewhere around 25, 24, 23 years. Those variables that you have to check off to make sure the film is properly, developed, they get longer and longer. Now, this guy that I got it from stated that he, had his film in a freezer all these years, which is why I wanted to try it, because I felt like it was actually a good deal because he actually, kept it stored properly. I put my film in a closet. Not the best, and it won't last very long, but I shoot it as soon as I get it so I can do that. So what were the results? Well, I threw it in the scanner. The Ektachrome 400 came out absolutely beautiful. I mean, it looked like I wanted. I could tell there's a bit of a color shift.
Okay.
Slightly, it went more blue, which maybe that's the way it goes. I'm not entirely sure. I've never shot it. But based on Ektachrome 100, it was more orange. It was very orange, summery, warm, however. And that's what I was expecting. But this one, it was blue in the shadows, but orange-ish in the highlights. And so what I did was took it into Lightroom and I pushed up the temperature scale. What am I thinking? And I pushed it +5 just to give it that little bit of that warmth that I was expecting from it. And it came out great. That's all I had to do. And I was very happy with it. The grain was exactly what I wanted. Anytime I shoot 35 millimeter, I shoot it for that look to give grain and just that 35 millimeter texture. Now the Velvia, totally different story. I put that slide in, I scanned it, and the highlights were all red and the shadows were all blue or magenta. The entire image was just is it called a duochromatic? Duo color? Bicolor? I don't know, but it was only red and blue. It was insane. Very cool if you're going for this artistic look. I'm not. I'm very realistic. I love accurate colors and accurate scenes. This is not at all what I was expecting. The photo, especially, I shot with my tungsten light, and I was expecting to be like this nice orange to the skin tones, and it was not, to say the least. And I don't know whether that's from age or from pushing, because here's the thing is, like, if you push, a new E6 slide, I bet it would still have that weird color shift. But it also could have been from age. I have no idea. But it was apparently built to be variable, so I don't understand why it would do that if I shot it. Short story is I don't know. And that's the moral of this story, is you just do not know what you're going to get when you shoot with expired film. Should you shoot it? Yes, because it's a very fun experiment, and you could get some amazing results like I did with the Ektachrome. However, you could also get what I got with the Velvia, and you'd be shit out of luck if it was, an important job. And the biggest lesson would be, if you're going to shoot this, it has to be for a project for you. It cannot be a paid gig or something important unless you just like living life on the edge. And in that case, I'd say go for it. What's the worst that could happen? Now, I actually was able to salvage this Velvia. As much as I hate editing colors of film, because that's, the purpose of shooting film, is having those colors straight out. I went in and I individually tweaked every single color. I went into Photoshop, chose a selective color, and I went through every single color it had on that and figured out what it did and tried to make it into something that I would consider accurate. Even though after shooting Velvia 100, it didn't look anything like Velvia 100, my final slides. I mean, they looked very... I don't know how to describe it. I did my best to get as accurate as possible. But, I'm not a photo editor. Without going through and manipulating the skin, the hair, the background individually, there's no way to get what I would call a truly accurate photo when it comes to that. So if you're willing to put in the time to edit, go for it. E6, the slides, the expired slides, looked fantastic after a little bit of editing. But if you're like me and you just like shooting and getting accurate results in the very beginning, I would not recommend it. Unless, once again, you just want to try it. So, long story short, should you shoot it? Yes. But just know you're going to have variable results. There's no way to know what it's going to look like until you get it back. I've seen Ektachrome 400 and 200 having just this purple cast, and I'm happy mine didn't do that. And it could have been, once again, how the guy stored it, so I'm very happy that he did that for me. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you go out and try some expired film, shoot me your results. I'd love to see them. It's always interesting to see what the outcome is. And that's it from me. You guys have a nice day. I'm taking my muffin.